Table wine is a wine term with two different meanings, a style of wine and a quality level within wine classification. In the United States, table wine primarily designates a wine style, ordinary wine, which is neither fortified nor sparkling. In the European Union wine regulations, table wine is the lower of two overall quality categories, the higher of which is quality wines produced in specified regions. All levels of national wine classification systems within the EU correspond to either TW or the QWPSR, although the terms that actually appear on wine labels are defined by national wine laws with the EU regulations as a framework. Most EU countries have a national classification called table wine in the country's official language. Examples include Vin de Table in France, Vino da Tavola in Italy, Vino da Mesa in Spain, Vinho da Mesa in Portugal, Tafelwein in Germany, Epsilon Pi Iota Tau Rho Alpha Pi Epsilon Zeta Iota Omicron Sigma Omicron Iota Nu Omicron Sigma in Greece. These classifications generally represent the lowest level of classification in the country. United States, the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau and Code of Federal Regulations define table wine as grape wine having an alcoholic strength of maximum 14% alcohol by volume. Wines between 14% and 24% ABV are known as dessert wine. Table wine may also be designated using terms such as light wine, light white wine, red table wine, or sweet table wine. European Union guidelines stipulate that all wine produced must fall into one of two categories. Table wine are the superior quality wines produced in specified regions. Within the category of table wines, a difference is made between plain table wines, which are only allowed to display the country of origin, and table wines with geographical indication, which may indicate a region of origin and are a form of protected geographical indication applied to wine. For the lowest Vin de Table level in France, the producers must use postal codes to prevent the name of an appellation from appearing even in fine print on the label or its vintage date. The new appellation Vin de France permits a vintage date. List of national table wine designations. The following national levels of wine classification correspond to table wines and table wines with geographical indication. Distribution. The fraction of national production classified as table wine varies dramatically from country to country. As of 2000, in France, a majority of wine is Vin de Table, while in Germany only 5% is Deutsche Tafelwein. Table wine from anywhere in the EU can be blended together to produce European table wine. European table wines are generally made from the highest yielding sites and vinified in an industrial manner. In the 1950s, when per capita consumption of wine was much higher, there was a need for vast quantities of cheap wine, but now much of it goes into the European Union's troublesome wine lake. Even today it is possible in France or Spain to purchase a liter of thin, pale wine, packaged in a box rather than a bottle, for the equivalent of a couple of US dollars. Naming contradictions. In contradiction to the presumed order, exceptional table wines are uncommon in Europe, but do exist. Ambitious winemaking outcomes may be classified as mere table wine if they are made from non-traditional grapes or with unconventional wine-making processes. Even wines made with every measure of care and grown on sites otherwise entitled to a prestigious appellation may be denied status. The best-known examples are the wines called Super Tuscans, which are made either with more than allowed quantities of international all varieties are without the once mandated inclusion of small proportions of Caniolo, Malvasia and Trebbiano per the relevant Tuscan appellation. In 1992, Italy created the Indicazione Geografica Tibita specifically to permit Super Tuscans to leave the table wine classification and become quality wine. Still, wherever legitimacy in a given appellation is stipulated by something more than a geographic boundary, one may find producers willing to ignore limitations in pursuit of extreme quality. In common usage, Vin de Table is the fourth and lowest ranked wine under the French wine classification. These wines are the cheapest to buy and to make, and are generally drunk accompanying a midday meal, are used to make wine-based cocktails.